Maleah Markishtum from Neah Bay High School. I'm going to be reading the presentation about our Shady Fish Hatchery. So some of our partners are the Hoco Falls Tribal Hatchery, the Markeith National Fish Hatchery in Neah Bay, and Red Zone. It is a mobile hatchery unit that we have in the back of our school. Down here is Joe. He works at the Hoco Tribal Fish Hatchery. And he helped us out a lot throughout this whole experience. And then this picture right here is a field trip to the Markeith Federal Hatchery. We typically do that like twice a year, just to like kind of introduce students into that area. Curriculum. This program was mainly used for 10th grade biology and marine science electives. We divided them into teams for differentiated instruction. So right here on the very top, it will tell, the students did a project about the different types of salmon. And then you did a PowerPoint presentation made by the media team. And then the Excel spreadsheet made by the temperature team. So like this was just kind of to get us started on the program we did. So we kind of knew what we were raising pretty much. So here's some of our hatchery background setup previous year. First year operating January 2023 through April 2023. Second year operating was in December through March 2024. Third year operating December 2024 through March 2025. Coho salmon eggs from the Hoco Falls Tribal Hatchery. So that's where we got our eggs. So this is Neil, a previous student at Neah Bay. He was adding freshly fertilized eggs to the eyeing up tanks. The first year, January 2023, coho salmon from Hoco Falls Tribal Hatchery. The first round of eyed up eggs from the Hoco Falls. One round of fertilization done at our school hatchery. Both rounds of eggs were raised at the same time in the same system. So here's kind of where we went into some really sad complications. Dangerously high water temps and connecting systems. So because of the high temperatures, a lot of the fish died. So that was like excessive fungal growth. And then we were trying to figure out a system to cool down the water. So we connected a lot of hoses to different tanks for cooler water. That was rough, but we did it. Fungal growth and bucket fish. Due to the excessive fungus growth and fish moving into the bottom tanks, despite screens being securely on, fish were moved to spare tanks and buckets for the remainder of their time before release. So yes, they were raised in buckets, but they lived, and it was a lot easier than keeping them in a fungus-infested tank. So what we did is we took the live fish, we put them in buckets, and we put air stones in there so they could have some form of oxygen, because that's important. And yeah, and then we put them in like extra tanks, and they lived. April 2023 released roughly 2,000 coho, which is good because it's better than nothing. So we took them out, we put them in the cooler. At the bottom right there is air stone. Right there, that's Elijah smiling, holding fish in the net. And then, yeah, we took them to Agency Creek. It's a little bit of a hike, but you know, it's pretty cool. Second year, December 2023, coho salmon from the Hoco Falls Tribal Hatchery. First round of coho eggs. We fertilized them at the school on the first day of break. So yeah. Okay, so another complication. Oh, never mind. We were releasing that one. I thought I'd seen something else. So this is the The first picture is us hiking to Agency Creek. That's me scooping up the fish in the bucket, and then that's where we release them. And then there's Mary. We just dump them in the stream, you know, kind of hope for the best. Third year, December 2024, coho salmon from the Hoco Falls Tribal Hatchery. One round of coho eggs fertilized at school after the 10th grade field trip to the Hoco Falls Tribal Hatchery. That was pretty interesting. There was absolutely no service there, so that kind of sucked. But we watched Joe cut up a whole bunch of fish and put their eggs in buckets right there, specific measurements, and then he's pouring the sperm in there to fertilize them, and you just like mix it up and rinse them, and yeah, then they're fertilized. December 2024, okay, December 17th, Boca Shield field hatchery trip. That is where we watched Joe take the eggs out of the fish. December 18th, field trip to the Hoco Tribal Hatchery to get eggs and milk to fertilize 25,000 coho eggs. January 19th, we had eyed-up eggs. February 15th through the 19th, eggs hatched. That was pretty interesting. I kind of expected them to just hatch really fast, but it was a few-day process, and I didn't know that. I was very impatiently waiting for them. February 20th, mass egg death, not enough oxygen. So we were trying to fix one problem, and we decided to put them in a square net, and they were kind of all piled up on top of each other, and there wasn't enough oxygen flowing through the net. So a lot of them died that way, which is pretty sad. But February 21st, oxygenator turned on, but created abrasion and more eggs ruptured. So because of the excessive flow of oxygen, they ripped their stomachs, or their egg sacs. And that's how more of them died. March 3rd, remaining live fish moved back into the eyeing up tanks. So we were kind of hoping for the best, moving them from one place to another to figure out if that would solve the problem. March 3rd through the 28th, fish swam through piping into the bottom storage. They do that a lot. I don't know why, but even when we cover it up, they still make it in there. March 28th, released remaining fish into Agency Creek. That was such a relief. Okay, oh my goodness. So here's us putting the fish in the buckets, and then there's me holding a bucket of fish. And I think that might be Crow dumping the fish into the creek. So that's our release site right there. Main tasks in the Swim Shady Hatchery. So the first part, getting the eggs from the fish, and then putting them in the buckets with the milk, and then we rinse them with water after letting it sit for like, I think it was like 2 minutes or something like that. And then we rinse them with an iodine solution, which kills off all the things you don't want on the eggs. You let that sit for a while. Then you rinse it again, and then you put them in the eyeing up tanks. And then there you just wait until they're almost hatching. Oh, yeah, you have to flush the system a lot. Okay. Egg shocking and egg picking. So egg shocking is very important because it pretty much eliminates the fish that are less likely to live. So a lot of them die anyway. But so here we have some students picking out the dead eggs. The way you could tell if they're dead is because they turn this like really white color, light orange. And you gotta take them out or else they will like infect the other eggs, which is not good. So number of eggs, verse period. So that's our little chart right there. And then there's us putting them back in the eyeing up tanks, or Markeith. Success. It was fun. There was a lot of student engagement, community involvement, and released roughly 5,000 salmon in total. Students, okay. So here's us releasing them again. Yeah. Obstacles. Daily maintenance was required because raising salmon is not easy. Salmon deaths. Extensive fungal growth clogged the pump in the hatching tanks, and there's a lot of oxygen requirements. Some of the casualties, fish from spring break. So there's the dead ones right there. Some of the surviving salmon in the hatching tanks, or no, those are the eyeing up tanks. And then the bucket fish that actually survived. I'm kidding. And so here's some art inspired by the hatchery. Shoes painted by students. My friend Mariella Wakali. Holly's actually wearing them right now. So there was a drum made by the students and presented to Holly at the ceremony. And then there's our classmate, Safira. She was painting a bench. Oh yeah, so that just kind of describes these pictures right here. And then, so there's our hatchery logo at the top. So in the middle is the egg, and then the two salmon swimming around, and then there's eggs in their belly. So that kind of represents the life cycle of a salmon. Okay, looking forward, habitat restoration for release streams and multi-generational learning. This is important. So you have to have a good environment to release the salmon in order for them to survive, and salmon provide for huge communities. So that is very important. And it is good for the next generations to learn this, because you want to keep it going. Thank you. Ushuyuk Shalta. Huh? Okay, and then these videos are available to you guys if you want to watch them on your own time. Thank you.